place where he didn't belong. But after a few moments in his small apartment he'd been assigned, he began to get used to the idea of living in Alandra. The original document that had expelled Alan clearly stated, "It is not possible to return to Earth during your present lifetime. A salary of 2,100 Galactic Credits is granted each month by the Earth government for basic needs until death. All decisions concerning the inmate will be transferred to the government of Alandra, who will have full rights to act on his behalf." And that was that. He packed his few belongings and boarded one of the galactic transport ships that were heading for Kalara IV, with two government representatives watching him until he boarded the ship. And since Alan had no family left, but only a few friends who were scattered on planets close to Earth, whom he hardly ever saw anyway, his arrival on a planet far from everything he knew was in a way his ticket to a new life. At first, everything was so different in Alandra from Manhattan. He stayed indoors most of the time, with occasional outings to the restaurant around the corner where he'd have lunch, maybe a short walk through the streets between the neighboring blocks, and then back home. The deportation colony on Kalara IV was sponsored by many planets, mainly through the allowance it gave to the inmates, so it had no need for its own local economy. The only profitable things in the colony of Alandra were the occasional old blocks turned into hotels and small shops of all kinds run by outcasts that generated enough profit for the owners to afford a slightly better life on Kalara IV, adding a little more to the allowance they had been deported with. The colony comprised a total of almost 12,000 inhabitants, and the rest of Alandra completed the figure with another 7 million citizens. The rest of the planet was made up of smaller but growing cities, linked together by land lines and ultra-fast planetary transport, and what was left was all vegetation, mountains, and a few desertic areas. The planet could be explored at any time with a personal transporter, but no one in the colony had one, and renting one was too expensive for the most outcasts anyway. Plus, the leave outside the colony was only 31 days a year. The colony was actually a one-way destination for most of the people who lived there, as they were not allowed to leave the planet, and in most cases they stayed there until they died. Very rarely some were pardoned and managed to relocate to Alandra City, and sometimes one or two outlaws managed to escape from the planet using a transport ship that was occasionally passing through the colony, which then docked at the planetary ring, a rather large construct built in the planetary orbit. But they were usually caught fairly quickly by Alandra's police, who operated almost to the borders of their solar system, having small but very fast and well-equipped ships. So the outlaws were brought back very quickly, and, as a punishment, their monthly allowance was reduced. Thus, most of the outlaws learned to make their stay in Alandra's colony more pleasant, limiting themselves to escapes from time to time within Alandra, which was actually a very beautiful city, using the 31 days of leave they were allowed per year. As for Alan, he had recently managed to make a few friends among the regulars of the restaurant where he usually ate, and among those who frequented a board games club, located at the ground floor of a hotel not far from the building where he lived. This way, he no longer complained of loneliness, even though he was mostly alone at home. The apartment he has been given was simple and chic, a spacious one-bedroom apartment on the second floor of a very old building in the colony. It consisted of a single room divided into a few areas, painted in white and decorated with colorful floral motifs drawn on the walls. Two sofas